Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Fifth Line Show. It's Colby Guy here with Alex Bumgartner to my right. And we have some Florida Panthers hockey to talk about. How are you doing, Alex?
Yeah, pretty good. It's been a couple days since the last game. It's gonna be a couple more till we get into the next one. Interesting breaks so early in the season on the schedule, but one more home game before they hit the road again.
Yeah, we just got two games on the slate going forward to. It's a bit of a spotty schedule here, but since we last talked, the Panthers did beat the San Jose Sharks 3-1, and they fell to the Vancouver Canucks by a score of 5-3. I think, was it?
And the
Or
Vancouver game was first, and then San Jose was the last one.
I was going in.
Saturday will be Seattle.
I don't know. I'm not going to argue over semantics, but the Panthers sit at 500 at 3-3-0. What are your overall thoughts?
The San Jose game, I don't think they played very well. San Jose isn't as good of a team as the Panthers. It was a very boring hockey game until really the third period, and then it started picking up. Vancouver game, I mean, they couldn't stop the power play. Their penalty kill was not that good. And the Toronto game was probably the best game that they played. And that was the first game, the home opener. It to be 500 is pretty good, and you were missing some guys. You still don't have Sam Bennett in the lineup for those first 6 games. Barkov missed the San Jose game. So there's been a lot of line juggling to get out of that 500. It's not bad. It's not great. They haven't played the best hockey, but they also haven't played the worst. So hopefully a better effort than they did against Vancouver and San Jose against Seattle.
Yeah, and they do have some good news on the horizon. Sam Bennett did take part in his first full practice today. He is returning from a lower body injury that he suffered during the preseason. There was no indication on whether he's going to play on Saturday, but it sounds like they're hopeful he is. They just want to see how he does during practice tomorrow and during the morning skate on Saturday. They have two more practices to kind of judge and see where Sam Bennett is at before they go ahead and put him into Saturday's game. But I mean, that does open a lot of things up for the Panthers offense because past the top line, there hasn't been too much production. And I mean, it really has shown in the second line specifically. It was Carter Verhaeghe shown with 3 goals, but Matthew Tkachuk only has 6 assists. Well, only 6
Yes.
assists in 6 games. But the big thing here is that he has no goals. He was kind of being shuffled around with some line mates, including Nick Cousins was on that line with him and Luostarinen for a little bit. Then they put Luostarinen with Verhaeghe on that line, and it created some looks, but not a lot of goals. And getting Sam Bennett back, who is a real driver for that line and really pushes the front of the net and opens some space up for Matthew Tkachuk, could really help things on that second line.
Yeah, we see it all the time. Anytime the Panthers are missing Sam Bennett, and then when they get him back in the lineup, it seems like stuff just instantly changes. Saw it at the end of the last season, regular season, then we saw it in the playoffs. When Sam Bennett comes back in the lineup, stuff starts clicking. Matthew Tkachuk plays really good with Sam Bennett. Those two are just even going back to their Calgary days, even though they didn't play a whole lot together all the time. In Florida, they've been sticking together quite a lot, and just the fact that you get the first full practice in today, he's going to get another one in tomorrow. And then morning skate Saturday. I mean, he'll probably play on that road trip if he doesn't get in on Saturday. Another thing is Jonah Gadjevich, his first full practice with the Panthers, been IR skating since preseason started. They just signed him about a week ago. So he gets in to a full practice as well. So that's another big body that they can add into their lineup sooner than later.
Yeah, Maurice said that Gadjevich might be a little bit longer than Bennett. He might be an extra skater, or he might stay on IR for a little bit, but he's recovering from an upper body injury that he suffered in February. and they want to be careful with it, but he has progressed enough that the team's letting him practice with the team in full.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see there. They still have Steven Lorentz who can fill in on that fourth line. That line has looked really good when it's together. And that has probably been Florida's best depth line past that first line so far. And they also have Will Lockwood still up there. Mackie Samoskevich has not been sent down yet after playing in Thursday or Tuesday night's game. But we'll have to see what they decide to do with the lineup, whether Sam Bennett's in and whether Sasha Barkov's in, who did miss practice today. He missed Tuesday's game with an illness, but the Panthers are hopeful that he can come back to practice tomorrow and play in Saturday's game, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, and per the guys that were at practice, I wasn't at practice today. Steven Lorentz did fill in, correct, on the Barkov spot.
Yeah, he did fill in at Barkov's spot.
And usually that if the fourth line guy is jumping up to the first line in practice, that's a good indicator that they're probably expecting the guy he's filling in for to be in the lineup for that next upcoming game. Otherwise, they probably would have line rushed Lundell again, or maybe Lusterainen on that first line. Lundell did take over Barkov's first line duties in Tuesday's night's matchup.
Yeah, but I mean, speaking of that top line, that's really been where Florida's offense has all been from going forward. And I mean, the driver of that has been Sam Reinhart, who going into Tuesday's games is tied for second in the NHL with 7 goals. Haven't checked if Austin Matthews scored a goal while we're recording this, but going into tonight's games, he was second in the NHL goals with 7. He has 9 points. He has all 3 of Florida's power play goals this year. And he's really been clicking on that line with Barkov and Evan Rodriguez, who he played with in Buffalo. He was on a line with him and Jack Eichel for a brief amount of time when he was a Sabre. And it really seems like Rodriguez has opened things up for those two guys.
Yeah, Evan Rodriguez has been, him and Reinhart equally, been the most impressive Panthers to start the season. Reinhart, 5-goal streak through his last 5. I believe all 7 of his goals came in those last 5. That's the longest of his career. And Evan Rodriguez, who's on that line as well, has been lights out in his first couple games in Florida. Been a really good fit for the team. And they really click well. Not too much of an adjustment. As you said, they played together a little bit in Buffalo. But Evan Rodriguez seems to click with everyone on that team no matter where he is, whether it's the power play or that line one, which he hasn't been bumped off yet. And I don't see that happening pretty much anytime soon. It's good that Sam Reinhart starts the season off scoring so early. The first 2 seasons in Florida, it wasn't that quick. 6 games in, as Colby said, he's still tied for second in goal scoring in the NHL at the time that we're recording this.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing with Reinhart and Barkov is they both added a lot of speed to their game during the offseason. I mean, they didn't have enough time to put muscle on during the short offseason, and that almost helped in a way that they have more of a dynamic to their really just all-around offense there, where they can bump in the corners, they can create with passing, all 3 guys on that line can shoot, and it's really been a dynamic line that can do everything out there. And Barkov and Reinhart have clicked in different areas that haven't been on 5-on-5. Although when you look at the tape between those two guys, last year, even when they weren't scoring, they created a lot of chances. And Maurice just opted to switch things up after those two couldn't score on those chances. But when you look at this year, you have Evan Rodriguez, who finished a lot of those chances early on, and now you have Sam Reinhart playing with a lot of confidence early on, and that line has clicked pretty well. Barkov and Reinhart also appearing on the penalty kill as well. So, I mean, those 3 have been the Panthers' drivers so far.
Yeah, and we mentioned it's only a matter of time until Matthew Tkachuk starts scoring goals. I mean, through 6 games and 6 assists, you're still a point per game. But you're going to expect the 40-plus goal scorer to eventually get on the board sooner than later. It hasn't been the greatest offensive start for Etu Listerainen or Anton Lundell, and the team's still 500. You're going to get Sam Bennett back. Barkov missed one game, but Barkov is going to be back in the lineup. So, I mean, when the team's fully healthy and the guys are all going, they're one of the hardest teams to beat in the NHL. Anthony Stolarz, he played his first game, last game against San Jose. Played a pretty good game, only gave up one goal. Team played all right in front of him. There's still a little bit of shakiness on the blue line. We haven't seen Mike Riley in yet. Uvis and Mahura, actually all six, I don't even know why I'm saying that. All six defensemen at the start of the first game of the season have played all the games through. You're going to see Mike Riley eventually in a game, but Maurice did tell us that it's a little bit easier for you to, switch in a forward because you have 11 others than switch in a D, and you can double shift a forward, throw one of your top guys out there, run 11-6 if you need to. Whereas the defenseman, it's a little bit harder for you to throw them in the lineup.
Yeah, but I mean, going back to Anthony Stolarz and his debut on Tuesday, he looked really good. He stopped 26 of 27. That goes to a .964 save percentage in that start, and he looked very calm in the net. I mean, 6'6" guy. Took a lot of the space away from San Jose's shooters there. He cut off a lot of angles. There wasn't a lot of panic to his game. And, I mean, that's the way you need to play when you're not playing very often. You don't need to sell out for big saves. And with a guy that big, he covers up a good portion of that. But there was a save he made in the third period on Anthony Duclair where he took away the whole bottom of the net. Duclair tried to get around him. He reached around, made a big save. And then on a penalty kill, the Sharks had a pretty big scramble in front of the net, and Stolarz just laid down and took the whole thing away. So when you're dealing with a guy that big who knows how to use that size, he can do pretty well.
Yeah, Stolarz played a very good game. That's his first game, as we said. And then couple late additions. They called up Mackie Samoskevich because of the Barkov illness. Will Lockwood also played. So you had two of those guys come in, play on the fourth line, and they didn't play a whole lot of minutes, but I mean, Samoskevich made a big play in the defensive zone that should have been a penalty shot or a penalty. Didn't get called, but he came in, played fourth line minutes, just kind of like as a last minute, we need a body in. So they don't put him in the top 9, but he looked pretty well on the fourth line. Don't know how long he's going to be staying up, but for what they asked for him, he played a pretty good game. Will Lockwood, once again, they didn't play that many minutes, but both these guys get into a game. Justin Sordiff is in Charlotte right now, so Samoskevich and Sordiff waiver exempt. They're going to be going up and down. They're going to get minutes when they need to in Charlotte, and then if a spot opens up, they'll be back here. Lockwood's not waiver exempt, but had a good preseason, good start in Charlotte. He makes the first non-sort of Samoskevich call-up of the year.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking to Paul Maurice post-game, he really liked the shiftiness in Samoskevich's game, where he, in the second period there, he forced a turnover, then went right on a breakaway, got caught from behind, taken down from behind before he can get a shot off. Should have been a penalty shot. Maurice didn't want to talk about that post-game, but overall, in 8 minutes of play, he looked pretty good. And Paul Maurice liked what he saw from Samoskevich there. And I have more on that in my story on FloridaHockeyNow.com if you guys want to check that out.
And
where did Alex go? Well, I'm here, but okay, Alex is back.
I don't know what happened. I got kicked out. My fault. Anyways, before we move on to the next part, I just want to tell you guys a couple of things. If you are interested in hockey development, there's Ultimate Hockey Training made by Hockey Ultimate Training creator Kevin Neal. It's a comprehensive hockey training system. It's a proven system for aspiring players. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check the description below. And also, we know you guys are hockey fans. If you want some tickets to a Panthers game or any other NHL game, also hit the link in the description for SeatGeek. We got NHL tickets there. And if I'm not wrong, is SeatGeek not a sponsor of the specific team we're talking about?
Yeah, SeatGeek handles the tickets for the Panthers, so you can get the direct tickets from the Panthers from SeatGeek and get a discount from watching our show and clicking the description down below. We have a discount code for you below.
I'm not sure if there's a discount, but the link is down below.
Yeah, just go check it out. Anyways, there may or may not be a discount there, but we have sponsors now. The show's growing. Thank you, guys.
All right, let's get into the last segment. We got the look ahead. So, one more home game against Seattle Kraken. Seattle came in last year to Florida, and they did them up pretty well. So, Seattle's looking for that again. Florida is looking to get 2 wins in a row on home before they hit the road for a pretty lengthy road trip.
Yeah, it should be it's a 3-gamer, I believe. They play Boston, Detroit, and Chicago, and 2 of those teams are 2 of the best teams in the Eastern Conference there. Detroit being a pretty big surprise, but driven by a couple of the league's best young players and Dylan Larkin and Alex DeBrincat, who has been phenomenal for them since coming in from Ottawa. And the Boston Bruins, even without Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci and some other guys who left via free agency and trade, and Orlov, Hall, Bertuzzi. They lost a ton of guys, but they are still a strong regular season team, and they are still unbeaten as of right now. So those are 2 of the Panthers' biggest tests so far, both on that upcoming road trip, and it all starts with Boston on Monday.
And those are also 2 Atlantic Division teams. So those are 4-point swings, and they could be important 4-point swings later on down in the season. After the Chicago game, there's 1 game at home in Columbus, and they hit the road again. And then they're back at home for a couple. So then we start splitting the games up a little bit. But the Panthers have been at home for a while, so 1 more game at home. And then as Colby said, they're going to have some tough Eastern Conference opponents on the horizon.
Yeah, so we'll see how things go. Stay tuned for an update on Sasha Barkov tomorrow from either one of us on Twitter, either me at Colby D Guy or Alex Baumgartner at A Baumgartner 91. It should be a exciting week upcoming for the Panthers, and we will have you covered wherever. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.